Yo everyone, so this is a follow-up video to the last one and a little bit of the stuff that I've been talking about with Garrison Archangel. If you've heard any of the recent videos, whether it be the last part of Dead Space or my Gun and Battle Operation 2 video, Game Night 20, I was on about how I was under the impression that the stats on Garrison Archangel for the Spooktober event for one of the suits that I'm up against had been slightly swayed by some unlockable cosmetic parts. Well, this has come in through a little bit of ignorance on my part, mainly because when I originally did my design for my mech and when I was sending it in, there was only 2 days until I could submit, and I rushed everything together. Now, in doing so, I didn't take enough into account in terms of defense and things like that. So, what ended up happening was when everything started, I saw that there were a couple of unlockable parts in the parts menu, and thought that was a bit weird, but thought that that was developers only because I'm not particularly familiar with this game, I'll admit that now. I played the base game to its completion with various different robots that I've designed, but apart from that, I do not go on this game loads. You know, I used to go on it quite a lot. No, I don't, and I've never heard of these codes. I'm not in the Discord, I'm not part of the larger community, I'm just a guy that enjoys the game a little bit. So, I didn't see any of these cosmetics up until this tournament, and immediately started thinking, okay, some of these might be special dev parts that the devs have. And then, when I started seeing more of it, I was like, well, maybe there's some added extras. And I was told only recently about today while filming this about unlockable things via codes that allow you to change or unlock some of the parts that are, according to Robofights YouTube channel, just cosmetic. So I went ahead after talking to Robofights about this and complaining a little bit, thinking that, well, I was under the impression that these new parts would give you stat bonuses, that they are in fact a reskin of the Mammoth set here. Now, what I didn't take into account when designing things is that there would be at least one robot that would be an absolute powerhouse when it comes to defense. And that's what my opponent is. My opponent with the base game parts, the non-cosmetics, would look like this. And what's happened is every other fight that it's been in, it's won. So I'm actually going to show you it now and show you what will happen to my unit. Because there's so much of a stat difference. I actually think, before we do this, this is where I got confused, was when I was looking through all of my robots and then mine. With the other one, I immediately put the cosmetic part code in after I'd found out about it from a friend really late at night. And when I'd found out about it, I put the code in, got the parts, and immediately built up the suit that I'm now going to be facing to try and see how good it would be. I didn't actually take into account that they were cosmetics. I didn't even know they were just cosmetics until recently. So I was under the impression, after doing 5 or 6 tests and only winning one game out of all of them, that this had something to do with the parts. So when I was looking through the parts, I immediately saw these cosmetics with the 7,000 hull points and thought, okay, that's probably because of those parts, because I've not seen that before. It's because I didn't take into consideration that somebody might just use all of one part type, like the defensive stat or whatever. So here we have my hull points here are 4,555. The enemy robots is 7,000, so it has a clear advantage in health points. The stability bonus it has is, again, another advantage. It has way more than me. I have 891 and it has 1,400. Mobility wise, it has about 2,000 less mobility than me. It doesn't have much melee, and its load is ridiculously overbearing, so it's encumbered. It can't move very fast, and the only way that I would win this matchup is if I was faster, and if I did more damage, which is pretty hard. the way that this works is that my mech is built for keeping pressure on another mech, but it's not really built for going up against heavy things. Whereas this is built to tank almost everything and can almost tank everything. Like I said, my mech has managed to win 1 game out of 5, which means winning 2 rounds against it, and this was when it did not have chance to use its railgun. I find that it will always start off a match by using its railgun, and then it will switch to it if it's in long range combat. Sometimes it may use its shoulder shotguns if you get close, but the main weapons for it are the flamethrower and the bazooka, and it just wrecks everything. Plus, because it's got so much defense, I don't stand a chance. And this is where things got confusing, because I'd never really used or bothered with these parts before, so I never knew how much defense you could get with the points here, or the parts together, sorry. So that means that, yeah, due to my ignorance, I just didn't realize this. And of course then I'm saying, well, look, because I had the cosmetics on, I'm saying, look, it's these parts, they've got better stats, you know, this isn't fair. That's not true, and I want to take all that back, obviously. I'm putting this video up and admitting my fault, because I just thought that it would be better than leaving all that other stuff up and looking even worse in the long run. So now what I'm going to do is, just to prove this, I'm going to go into the multiplayer game, go to customs, and I'm going to show you what the match will be like versus my opponent. In advance, thank you to Robofights for letting me take part in this. And also, well done to my opponent for beating my robot. In hindsight, it doesn't seem too hard to beat now, especially because of the way your build is done. I just wish I'd paid more attention to this. Anyway, I'm going to bow out, and I shall see you guys next time, and you can just watch how this goes down, because, yeah, it's pretty fantastic about how it just curb stomps me like crazy. Let's start this up here.
Ready, go! Ready, go! Match.